What's going on, guys? It's been a while since I've made a YouTube video, but I went and recently picked up a new outboard for a boat that I'm working on. And my buddy told me that I really just need to start making YouTube videos no matter how they come out, just because of all the projects that I've got going on, and just make something, and somebody will enjoy it. So this is my push to force myself to start making YouTube videos again. I made a couple in the past and just kind of lost momentum and got carried away with the projects and such. But I'm gonna try and force myself to start making them, start getting better. So this is the motor that I picked up yesterday. It is a Nissan 50 horsepower two-stroke motor. I'm pretty sure they're clones of Tohatsu. And what I'm gonna be doing today is, again, I need to keep making videos, and I started on this motor stand just with some scrap wood around the shop, and I went to Home Depot and picked up a box of screws, and I told myself, I said, when I get home, I'm going to start making a video, gonna go through it, and I'm actually gonna make the guy, my buddy that sold me the motor, I'm gonna make him a stand as well, because he's got a couple motors around his shop, and I mean, it's just scrap wood around here, so no biggie. But I'm gonna go ahead and unbox the rest of these screws. All right, so the tools I'll be using is just a circular saw and an impact, nothing too crazy. And then I got a speed square and a pencil just to mark out my lines, and a tape measure. If anybody's wondering, the screws that I'm using are 3-inch deckmate screws. They're pretty generic. 3 inches best, just because you get 1.5 inches in each piece of the 2x4. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on the bench and start measuring out the other couple pieces. So this is all just scrap wood that I've had laying around, but just for a couple measurements, this leg here is 24 inches. This leg, the up legs are 40 inches, and the width of this is 16 inches. I've got these right that are gonna go here. Go ahead and screw that in. Go ahead and throw this other inside piece on, and like I said, this is just a scrap wood project, not even really making sure everything's square and even. Just gonna hold the motor instead of leaning it up against the wall. All right, so for the 45 brace, my Milwaukee saw, the edge of the guard is 1 inch off. So to make the 45, I'm just gonna go ahead and mark 1 inch in, and then take the speed square and put it right on that 1 inch mark. And really don't even need to make a line, just hold it in place and go ahead and cut it. Right side support. Grab a couple more screws. I saw that probably wasn't in frame. All right. Now we're gonna throw one up top. And then I'm gonna throw one at the front and one at the back, and then do some cross support. Do probably one cross support here, and then that'll be it. And this needs to be 13 3/4 is fine. Let me go ahead and grab another one. So like I said, I got a lot of 16-inch scrap wood pieces. So we'll go ahead and measure that to 13 3/4. But my saw uses 1 inch, so I'll go to 12 3/4. Again at 12 3/4. Throw scrap wood out. Lay that down and make sure it's nice and in frame. Back it up a little bit. So with this one here, I could have made it 16, but I didn't, but it's all good. Again, it's scrap wood. It doesn't have to be pretty. That didn't really bite. There's a knot right there that the board is fighting. And then we'll put the one more brace right here in the middle. We'll go ahead and measure that. And that is 12 7/8. So we'll measure it at 11 7/8. So that's just a cheap and crude way of making a engine stand. And again, for the last measurement, got a width of 16 inches, a height of 40 inches, and then these inside boards here are 24 inches long, and these here are 13 3/4. And then these here were just 16s cut down for the angle. And then this inside board here is 12 7/8. So you can definitely knock it out with 2 2x4s and 1 2x6, or really you could just, or I think that's a 2x10, I want to say. But you can go ahead and just mount two 2x4s right there, and it should be more than strong enough for a two-stroke motor at least. I would probably put 25, maybe up to a 30, 35 on this 4-stroke. But the 2-strokes are so much lighter than the 4-strokes. But like I said, gonna go ahead and knock out another one of these for my buddy and take it to him on Monday, maybe Tuesday, whenever I get off work, and surprise him with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on a time lapse and just knock one of those out real quick. So as you can see, it really doesn't take that long to put one together. I tried using all new boards for his, but I ended up running out. These are not new boards at all. They haven't never been cut, but they've been just sitting in a corner. And I believe it was on this corner or the back corner. The board just had a lot of twist in it, so I had to use a clamp quite a bit to spread it out and get everything nice and square. But again, they'll hold the motor just fine. I want to say that 50 horsepower motor weighs like 200 pounds. So it's really not that heavy at all. And then like a 25 Yamaha 4-stroke, I want to say weighs like somewhere around the 180, 200. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the boat stuff out of the way. Me and the wife, we're gonna take the boat out here later this afternoon. And I'm gonna try and put that motor on my stand by myself. I may end up putting some type of plywood down here on the bottom just for like a storage tray, so to speak, or whatever. But my vision is to use the hand cart back there, right there, and just scoop up the motor. And the motor will be on the back side like this. And so when you scoop it up, it'll be fairly easy to move it around. So I'm gonna go ahead and move all that stuff out of the way and then try and move the motor onto the stand. The only problem is at some point in time, somebody cut the small ear off of this motor. So there normally would be a screw clamp going towards the motor, and that would make you not have to drill holes in your stand. But more than likely, I'm gonna have to drill holes in the stand. Not exactly sure how I'm going to hold the motor in place and drill the holes. But I guess we'll figure that out when we get there. Give me just a second. So I got everything moved out of the way for the motor, and a little bit of an oversight, but a problem that we will kind of figure out as we go on is I just went ahead and took this board off and set it up against the motor and marked my holes. And as you can see, I went to go drill them through, and we almost ended up not fitting at all. Again, if the motor had the clamps on there, which that's how I was building it, it would be here, which is perfectly fine for it. Which those clamps would have put us at 10 and a half, 10 and 5/8. So that would have gave us plenty of room. Since we have 13, 10 and 5/8 would be like that. Give us a little inch and a half on each side. But since we're having to use the actual bolt holes, it spread it out quite a bit. I can use these lower holes to mount it as well whenever I put it on the stand, but little bit of an oversight, but nothing that we can end up figuring out. So we'll go ahead and I think I'm gonna end up calling the wife out here and seeing if she can give me a hand and shove the bolts through while I hold the motor in place. I am gonna go ahead and put a piece of plywood down here just for the time being to let the skeg sit on. And this is basically what it's doing right now, but let me go ahead and go get her and we'll try and start manhandling this motor onto the stand. So unfortunately, the wife can't help me out right now, so I'm gonna end up doing it solo. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw you guys on a tripod. The width is becoming a little bit bigger of a deal than I thought it was gonna be, but whatever. It's just literally two pieces of a 2x4, and then that top piece, which I've got a bigger one, but I don't feel like taking it apart and redoing it, so I'll do it on another day. Probably not, but I say I will. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw you guys up on a tripod and try to do this by myself. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I guess let's see how strong I am, because this moves here and the tilt, it's not flat either, which the tilt and trim is a little out of whack. So I guess here goes nothing. There's a little grips here and here. Oh boy. This piece over here. That wasn't too bad. Tilt is definitely going to be an issue. Gosh. That tilt is really giving me a run for my money. We're would have been a lot easier with some help. But sometimes you just gotta do it all. Alright, that's getting a little tight. Let me grab this ratchet. Came out. Let me grab my impact. That was a little bit harder than what I wanted it to be, but the tilt of the motor is what really jacked me up, because having to hold it at an angle instead of being able to hold it flat was a really big headache. But that piece of plywood at the bottom definitely came in clutch. I'm gonna go ahead and rip it down on the table saw and slide it underneath. Excuse me. That'll give me a little bit of storage, but it holds the motor. Not really sure if I'd run the motor on it, but could use a couple more supports and you'd be able to run the motor. Just the vibrations probably wouldn't be the best thing for it. All right, cool. So like I said, I'm gonna drill 2 more holes down here at the bottom on each side, and then that'll give me 4 solid bolts into it. This one here, I actually just kind of use the threads to grab it, and then that one there, I used a hammer, but it'll be fine. So I just went ahead and, like I said, just screwed the lower 2 mounts on, and as you can see, there is plenty of room for those there, and that's where those ears would have been. So me not a little bit of an oversight, like I said, but hey, we got over it, no biggie. So now I'll be able to pick it up from the side, turn it around real quick, and then be able to press it against the wall, get it out of the way, and make sure that if anything hits it, taps it, moves it, or anything like that, it's not gonna fall and crack the side of the casing. All right. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Seems to be holding up. Could always put more bracing right there in the middle. I'm not too worried about it, like I said.